And welcome back to the breaking news hour of the Strategy Room. I'm Patty Ann Brown. I'm going to reintroduce our panel right now. We have Matt Sanchez, a columnist for WorldNet Daily and a war correspondent. And next to him we have Pat Cadell, who is a former Carter pollster and Fox News contributor. And then we have Andy Ostroy, who writes a blog called the Ostroy Report, and it's a Democratic blog. And we have Jessica Stone, who is a freelance journalist, and her website is jessicathereporter.com. And we do have some emails coming in. I'm going to read those now. If you want to email us, it's strategyroom@foxnews.com. Pam Jacobs says, Pat Cadell is right. Those who dismiss the history of Russia are foolish. It will lead to dangerous results for this country and the world. Remember, trust but verify. Then we have Emery Lucero. Why is it so difficult for folks to call a spade a spade? It's crazy that folks refuse to admit Obama is someone who is going to hurt America. He was brought up his entire life to hate America and our way of life. This isn't conjecture. This isn't something ambiguous. It's not made up. The facts exist. His conduct before coming into office and his conduct since coming in show an anti-American mentality. I'm going to let Andy respond to that. What blows me away is that no one wants to come out and say it. It's not a race thing. He could be Hispanic just like me. I would still say he's anti-American. This is Lori Linville. During the Bush years, I was always hearing about the scathing editorials about him in the foreign press. Well, there have also been scathing editorials about Obama overseas, and yet I have yet to find this. Why no front-page coverage of this as during the Bush administration? All right, let's chew on a couple of those. This one, you know, one of the things that President Obama had said is, you know, I'm going to improve America's profile around the world. We've become the laughingstock of the world. The other countries don't like us. I'm going to improve that. This woman, Laura Linville in Phoenix, Arizona, is saying that, well, actually, right now, there's a lot of negative editorials overseas about Obama as well. What about that? Do you think our image overseas has improved, remained the same, gotten worse?
Personally speaking, I think our image overseas has vastly improved. I mean, you got to look at where we came from. We were hated all over the world. We, you know, the favorability ratings of you know, Bush overseas and where we've come from in that point. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight where all of a sudden the world loves us. You know, and I think these are steps that we have to take in the right direction. You know, I think it's very different than what this country's been used to under Bush, and I think there's a lot of people who don't like it, don't want to accept it, and are ready. I mean, this is a person that emailed before who said something like, this is not about race, this is not, but 2 seconds before that, she or he, I forget what their gender was, but basically compared Obama from as a little boy to Timothy McVeigh. I mean, you know, they put him in a camp of the most unpatriotic, dangerous Americans, but where do you go from there?
Well, I mean, I have to defend. His name was Emery Lucero, and he never said that Obama was a terrorist or like a terrorist in any way.
I mean, what are you
That's
saying?
Not the same thing as saying he's Timothy McVeigh.
Well,
you can hate the country. It doesn't.
It's not such a leap,
you know,
from one to the other.
Okay.
And that's the dangerous vitriolic rhetoric that we're seeing today across the board on whether it's the debt or health reform or.
Yeah. Let me just say this. You know, look. And I'll tell you what helps encourage this, and it helps does it, is the language of so many people in politics on the left as well. This notion, this elitism, the Democrat that's taken over the Democratic Party, from its whether it's in the party organizations, whether it's the candidates, whether it's apparatchiks, going on and assaulting the American people, that they're you're idiots, you're fools, you're this, you're racist if you oppose Obama. All it does is help stoke those kinds of reactions. What we don't have a civil debate in this country, there is a reason for it, and it isn't all one-sided.
This isn't a town hall meeting. We can.
No, but I'll tell you what, it's something that bothers the living daylights. I mean, game of politics here. This is dangerous stuff to start.
Well, the rhetoric is on both sides, and you got to you got to appreciate a guy like Scott Brown who goes to Washington and votes with Democrats because his goal is to change the tone in Washington. That's what we need to see more of. Not what you're referring to,
so
which I agree
agreeing
with
the other side just for the sake of agreeing with the other side. I mean,
as long as it's my side. As long as it's my side.
When John McCain stands up and says, for the rest of this year, we will not participate in anything that the Obama administration puts forward.
Because they hadn't the year before,
that
because they hadn't been invited.
That has to go away.
Look, I just want to make a point. Foreign policy is not a popularity contest. And I'm not sure what the prize is for miscongeniality, but it's not going to get you what we need, and that is national security, number one, That is our objective. And it's not a matter of who's popular, who's hated, or who's loved. Those are
Bob
ridiculous.
Fritsch, very quick email from Bob Fritsch in Phoenix. I don't want the world to love us, but to fear us. Kind of fits in with
I
what
like
you're
the
saying.
respect.
Respect is a better term.
Yeah,
But by the way, that's one of the things, if you read the editorial, you know, in the European press particularly, a lot of it was very pro-Obama, very anti-Bush for good reason. And now it is, you read this stuff every day, they're laughing at, I mean, they're laughing at the president. They say we're naive and weak. I mean, they are just thrashing him. And yes, it's getting no attention because, let's face it, we have in this country a media that has decided its role is not to inform and protect the people, but to serve whatever political interest they think they're to serve, whether it's left or right, and unfortunately it's dominant on law.
Can I make a point on the domestic point you were making about Scott Brown, and your counter argument that you shouldn't just vote, you know, to be popular? I mean, the Republicans in Congress have a real problem. They've earned the party of no label because, you know, privately they'll tell you we don't have anything better on health care, so we're just going to block it, and then we'll be able to say in 2010, look what we tried to do. I mean, and they're pretty honest behind closed doors about that fact.
I'd love to know who's telling you privately that they have absolutely no ideas on health care, because the Republicans they're screaming, a lot of these congressmen are screaming about the fact that, you know, tort reform, number one, selling insurance across state lines, and all of these things that they're pushing. A lot of them say they've got a lot of ideas, but they're completely shut out. The Democrats control both Congress and the presidency.
I just wish we had sold out to the drug companies to do this, to get health care, which we did, and then have everybody shut up about it. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. You know.
One issue about health care I think is important, and it relates to the nuclear, current nuclear pact, and that is that President Obama used a final option there. He used 51 votes. It wasn't the standard procedure for getting this passed, but he got it passed. And in the end, he left all options on the table. Unfortunately, Mr. Obama believes that the health care bill is more important than national security because he's taken off several options from the table when it comes to our national defense. And that's exactly what's happened when he's, when he's talking about de-arming or policies that are lack balance. We cannot allow ourselves to I mean, the United States isn't an equal in terms of national defense, in terms of world defense. We're not equals with countries like even Russia or China.
Right.
We have greater responsibilities.
So we're being told we need to wrap up shortly, so let me give everybody like a minute for final thought. You got yours already. Sorry, that was it. That's it. Final thought?
I just think that what we talked about this thing about how Congress works, the country believes that the process to get health care was a crime against democracy, basically. That everything went out, all the rules went out for both sides, everything went. And that is really dangerous when people believe their government is become a banana republic.
In terms of health care and the whole notion of it being socialism, you know, if giving and receiving government-funded health care is socialist behavior, then every elected official in Washington is a socialist because they're the biggest beneficiaries of it than anybody. And in fact, today it's been reported that they may lose that coverage. So it will be interesting to see where that goes because of a little glitch in the bill that they may have overlooked.
Well, that's something that a lot of people are rooting for.
Except for the staff members who wrote themselves out.
Right, yes.
Let's remember how well that was done.
Jessica Stone.
I guess I'll stay in the company of healthcare, and that would be to say that, you know, since most of the pay-fors for this bill come first and the benefits come later, I think we're going to see the polling drop even further.
And
I think we're also going to hopefully see some fixes in the interim because there are definitely issues such as tort reform, such as better fines to keep young people in the system that, you know, the IRS has no enforceability on keeping people in the healthcare system right now.
Interesting.
And that's something they need to look at.
Can I make my 5-second plea to Sarah Palin?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to, we were going to talk about